So from the Free Press, Olivia Reingold is here with us right now. What a Herculean task you undertook. Thousands and thousands of social media posts reviewed. What picture emerges?
And did you get hazard pay for doing this?
I'll just say 2020 was insane. 2020 took me like 2.5 days to go through alone. But my main takeaway is that he really is a sincere socialist. You know, he calls himself a democratic socialist, which in the city of New York, strangely, is not weird at all. There are many people who identify that way. And so I think that I was a little disarmed by that because I have friends who identify that way. And it was shocking to realize, oh no, he's extremely radical.
So he's been trying to kind of position himself now that he's trying to, he's trying to meet with financial leaders, for example. He's now coming to the realization that people kind of like the police. So he's trying to say that his positions are a little different, or at least speak both sides of the language here. But did you see a consistency on these issues? So should people believe him when he says he's had a change of heart or didn't really mean some of the things he said?
I think the best way to think about Zohran Mamdani and what he believes is to picture the most rabid participant in the Columbia encampment from last spring. Think of everything they believe about intersectionality. One thing that I found Zohran tweeted was that defunding the police was an issue of queer liberation. And so this whole intersectionality thing is totally up Zohran's alley. He's extremely academic. And so just think of the most radical college protester you could think of. Zohran likely believes the same things.
He tweeted over and over again about defunding the police. He talked about specific dollar amounts. He called NYPD racist, anti-queer, wicked. Fascist. He said they're a major threat to public safety. But then in the mayoral debates, he's like, oh, I never said defund the police. You know otherwise, and he said otherwise.
Yeah, he is trying to walk some of these things back. I'll also say I didn't get clarity from him on where he stands now. Does he believe in private property? Does he believe it is your God-given right to have a government-provided free apartment? I don't know because he didn't respond to my request for comment.
Well, it seems like he likes his own private property, like his family's compound in Uganda, for example. So I'm sure he likes to keep his own, but he's happy to take it away from other people.
Right. There's obviously an irony here, which is that he comes from wealth. One of his proposals is that he would raise a 2% additional tax for millionaires. And of course, his family does quite well. His mother is a famous filmmaker. So there's a little bit of irony there. Yeah.
And what an original thought. We're going to tax the millionaires.
Yeah.
And she might just move however many days she needs out of the year back to Uganda or to New Delhi to avoid whatever taxes he might try to impose if he has the power to do so. You mentioned Columbia, so I want to ask you about this. Senator Bernie Sanders doesn't like that university's $220 million deal with the Trump administration. He wrote, quote, "A great university is supposed to be a haven for truth, knowledge, and diversity of opinion." That is not what's been happening at Columbia, by the way. But he accused Columbia University, quoting again, of caving to their billionaire benefactors and to the Trump administration. This pathetic act of cowardice is one lesson their students should never forget. Olivia, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is this was about bringing Columbia into compliance with the law because of vast abuses of civil rights of Jewish students on campus, correct?
Right. I'm genuinely on the cusp of laughter because, so pathetic act of cowardice, that's what he calls agreeing to rectify civil rights violations. And so this is basically in the midst of the civil rights movement, post-segregation, if a university was still trying to segregate their campuses and a senator said that disagreeing with the government's attempt to rein that in was a pathetic act of cowardice. I'm so confused. It's civil rights.
And he's accusing Columbia of caving to the billionaires who donate. When really this was also a matter of the Trump administration saying, we're going to pull your funding if you do not reinstate the civil rights of your students who are paying to go to school there.
Also, perhaps I'm reading into it, but billionaires, it feels like perhaps masked language for wealthy Jewish donors.
Yeah, that's also true.
And it's not just rich people, though. I seem to remember there were some custodians who were taken hostage by the mob on this campus, right?
They're totally...
And Bernie Sanders
suing.
and they settled. So they got a nice payday. which they deserve. But Bernie Sanders doesn't want to talk about them. He wants to talk about the scary billionaires.
Right. And strangely, that tweet doesn't mention anti-Semitism at all.
Oh, surprise.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the pro-Hamas Bernie Sanders has spoken, so I'm sure everyone will be listening. Just kidding. Olivia, great to see you. Thanks so much for digging through all of those tweets. Hope you got at least a break from that at some point.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Go have a drink.